Catchers are caught in the middle of the latest analytics war. Tampa, Florida. Luis Severino stomped around the mound, his frustration obvious. After finally still, on the local television broadcast that night, Sanchez was the target, not Severino. The 26-year-old, it wasn't the first time Sanchez's defense had been called out and questioned by fans and analysts. And he's not the only. The current crop of catchers is too focused on stealing strikes, former players and fans reason. They are not as hard. I was always a catcher from when I was 8 years old. The emphasis was, catchers are caught in a tough spot between making the dramatic plays that earn them the cheers and glory and the small flick of a wrist in which they earn their living. Like contact hitter, how many runs a catcher can gain or lose his team based on his ability to receive you, or deceive as some would say you, is now mostly how teams are valuing catchers' defense. Framing ability. I work on every part of the game. I work on throwing, as one front office advanced analytics executive explained it. The difference between the best and worst receiving teams is between 40 to 60 runs per season. The difference between A team's catchers have an opportunity to throw out maybe 100 runners a year, the executive said. They receive 11. It is, however, getting tougher for catchers to gain that advantage, he admitted. The best receiving or framing team in 2018 had a 40-run differential over the worst team. In 2009, part of that is survival, the analyst said. Teams are less like umpires are being held accountable, as some catchers like to say, and their strike zones are being evaluated by the league constantly. Pitchers think several veteran umpires agreed. They said they are very. I don't think you can really steal a strike, Yankees veteran lefty J.A. Happ said. The analysts running the game these days, however, aren't debating framing. It's as a competitive, but many think it is to the detriment of the rest of their game. The focus is so much on framing, they don't practice blocking balls during bullpen sessions, you don't see them practice throwing, you never see teams take infield practice anymore, Martinez said. They are not working, and catchers are being asked to do more than ever before. With teams carrying more relievers, they have to catch more pitchers with different styles every day. They are catching pitchers who are regularly throwing with more velocity than ever before, and usually with that come less command. That means that instead, they are supposed to be able to block more breaking balls. For instance, the Yankees pitchers threw 33% breaking balls last season compared to the 28% the league averaged. And even as a catcher who has a reputation as being a poor blocker, Sanchez still managed to block 97% of the pitches he received last season. Sanchez heard, but no matter how much a frustrated pitcher stomps around the mound. No matter I know we feel we're lucky to have Gary Sanchez behind the plate, and he's a true difference maker and an advantage for our club. Every day we take the field and he's our catcher compared to the rest of baseball, Cashman said. It's as simple as that. Copyright 2019 New York Daily News. Visit New York Daily News at www.newyorkdailynews.com. Distributed by Tribune Content Agency, LLC. Related slideshow, the 2019 MLB season provided by M&A.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.